This is a Storm Team 12 weather alert.
We haven't had rain like this in like 12, 13 years as far as steady. We're getting it all in 3 weeks.
It's been the worst it's been in a long time.
It was like an ocean out here.
Everything is floated around. Mother Nature wasn't very kind to us last night.
Those just some of the sights and sounds of a very active night. This, a look from our Skyhawk 12 over the Mulvane area, just one of many places experiencing widespread flooding. The turnpike is as well. Just look at this video from Skyhawk 12 overlooking the turnpike, water rushing over part of the road there after a night, once again, of heavy rains here in Kansas.
And we are not out of the woods yet. Rain chances will continue through tonight. You can take a look right now, a live look at radar. Storm Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Ross Jansen has the latest on what we can expect moving forward. Ross.
Well, this is going to be our last big batch of heavy rain. It's already moving through central and south central Kansas, the places that are already waterlogged, and we're still looking at some areas we're dealing with rain coming down at 1 to 2 inches per hour. Now, south of Wichita, we find some scattered light rain showers in Sumner County, but the rain will be getting heavier here in the next hour to two. As you can see, we've got rain coming in from the west. There's also some thunderstorms coming out of northern Oklahoma, so Caldwell, within the next 30 to 45 minutes, you'll be getting rain. Off to the west of Wichita, again, we're talking about rain coming down in some cases 2 inches per hour. These are heavy downpours. Now, to give you some idea of how soon this is going to be reaching the city of Wichita, let's go ahead and put a storm track here. Again, we're not tracking severe thunderstorms, but moving east at 35 to 40 miles per hour brings them into Goddard at 5:05, Mays at 5:16, Keachai at 5:33. So once again, anticipating more heavy rains. That's what we find west of Newton. That's what we find around the Mound Ridge area. More heavy rain showing up north of McPherson. Showers continue across Barton County, Ellsworth County, all inundated with rain. It becomes a little bit more scattered out around Pratt, and then we find another little batch of light rain in far western Kansas. The big question, how much more are we going to get? Forecast models give most of south central and eastern Kansas another half of an inch to 1 inch. That's what you should be expecting between now and 10 o'clock tonight. Again, falling on top of saturated soils in some places have already had anywhere from 5 to 10 inches of rain. It's just too much in such a short amount of time. I'll be back with another update with what's on radar and a look ahead for the rest of the week later on.
All right, thank you, Ross. We have Team 12 coverage bringing you the latest from some of the hardest hit areas that continue to be impacted by flooding this evening. We want to begin in Augusta, where just this afternoon, the Kansas Health Department placed the city under a boil water advisory. It comes after several inches of rain fell, flooding roads and parks and creating other problems. Anna Auld is there. She joins us now live. Anna?
Melissa, well, we are at Lulu and 8th Street. This is pretty much right off of the main road when you come into Augusta. We want to show you a stalled van right there in the middle of the street. And you can also see some other cars trying to make their way through this road, which is not advised by some of the officials, as you just don't know how deep it is. But we have seen some cars make it across. We just don't know if they've seen any damage afterwards. But obviously this is not the only car that's been stalled in the middle of a road. There have to be at least 6 to 8 in this neighborhood that are now undrivable. Water is clear up to some driveways and homes. While people say the water has gone down, it's not enough with more rain on the way. Water ripped through Garvin Park in Augusta Wednesday, only a couple minutes from Melissa Smith's neighborhood.
So we're surrounded. It's tough.
Day after day of rain, turning her street into a river.
A lot of these people went through this flood once, and we all returned. We all returned to this area. We returned to what is home. And so to go through it again, to see it like this again, to know that not all the pumps are working, it's devastating.
City crews worked to unclog a flap gate. Divers had to go down to free debris so water can flow out of the city like it's designed to. This is now what surrounds Smith's home.
Hope and pray that it doesn't come up anymore.
Kaylee Myers lives in the same neighborhood.
We can't get out, cannot drive.
She and her family improvised, getting some needed groceries home.
Our backyard, the water's all the way up to our back deck. Our sump pump doesn't stop. It's been running for 3 days, hasn't stopped. Basically, we're just stuck. We're stuck.
Both don't know what their homes will look like if they get any more rain.
But it's going to get worse. We're just going to prepare for it.
We know crews have had several long days because of all of this flooding, and we know that they've made several water rescues in the last 12 hours, but we have not heard of any injuries yet.
Thank you, Anna. So we showed you this video at the top of the show. This is overlooking the Kansas Turnpike. Incredible video from the air here. This one taken from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Kansas Turnpike remains closed right now due to all of this. You know those concrete dividers, some of those washed out. And if you look closely in this video, that is a car that was trapped in some of those floodwaters. We're told those people are okay. Right now, northbound and southbound lanes from Wellington to the Oklahoma border are closed. Devin Fastbinder's following the flooding on the turnpike. So Devin, what is the latest?
Yeah, Mike, so I'm just south of the Wellington area, and this is about as far south as you can go on the turnpike. You can see there's not really any vehicles on there right now except for a couple worker vehicles. That's because crews have entrance ramps closed. And I'll tell you right now, it did just start sprinkling, which of course is not what anybody wants to see amid all of this flooding. But that closure is why we decided to fly above the turnpike. Check out this Skyhawk 12 video I shot this afternoon. It shows crews on the turnpike right up until where it's flooded. There's even a vehicle left in the flooding, as Mike mentioned. KTA tells me it does not have a timeline on when the turnpike will reopen, but it says the floodwaters are receding. Now, it's not just drivers facing these problems. I spoke with a man who lives just outside Mulvane, lives really close to the turnpike. He says things were even worse overnight.
Yeah, they shut down the turnpike last night and diverted traffic southbound, and they were coming off the roundabout and off the Mulvane exit onto the highway right there. And it was just like bumper to bumper cars getting off the turnpike there. From the highway across here was just solid water. Our driveway was submerged. Hydraulic road was submerged, completely covered with water. This was completely underwater, and it was right up to about this high. This was all underwater. My tractor tires were underwater because the water couldn't get through the culvert fast enough to drain it off. And that was all underwater down there. But my shop stayed dry. I was worried that it would actually get up close enough to the house. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. It was like, I've never seen it rain like that in my life.
Yeah, again, it is already sprinkling a little bit, which is what everybody was hoping would not happen as these floodwaters continue to recede at least a little bit. But Chip tells me that it wasn't just his property that was flooded. It was his home, too. Coming up new at 6, you'll hear from him on why he had to spend $200, surprisingly, overnight.
All right, thanks, Devin. He's right. We don't need any more rain. Check out this photo. This is from a man's home who lives in a neighborhood near Hayesville, and you can see water had moved into his kitchen here. People living in this neighborhood had to wade through feet of water just to get to their front doors and out to the main roads today. Alex Flippin spoke to this home's owner who says he's luckier than many.
This portion of Hillside and Sedgwick County has been closed off. You can still see the yellow lines beneath the water, but the only thing flowing here is water, not traffic. Other roads in the area weren't even this lucky, and the folks living on them tell me they have a tough road ahead.
We went and got some supplies, gonna see what we can do to get the water out of the house.
Braden Mart says it was about 4 a.m. when he realized there was a problem.
Went downstairs and the wife was like, you need to come down here and check this out. So I come checked it out, and basement, the kitchen and the washroom, it's about 6 inches deep of water.
Those living in the small neighborhood near 95th and Hydraulic woke up to this. Homes with water up to their doors or worse. Some wading through it to help crews clear ditches and remove water. And water removal was the order of the day for many businesses.
Yeah, this morning when I walked in here, the phone was ringing, the voicemails were going off, and people were needing trash pumps, dehumidifiers, carpet fans, anything that would move water or pick up water.
Hayesville Rental Center owner Ron Grieving says it took no time at all before his stock of pumps, fans, anything else that would help dry out a home was wiped out, and he wasn't the only one.
I was calling other rental stores to see if they had additional equipment so they could help the customers out, but they were the same situation. They were out also.
Those who left empty-handed were placed on a waiting list, knowing more rain could be on the way.
But they'd like to see some dry weather for a while.
Alex Flippin, Eyewitness News.
And people in Hutchinson also dealing with the aftermath of the rain. This is what one street in a Hutchinson neighborhood looked like this morning. A person who lives there says it was really a lot worse than this.
Last night, the water was all the way up to my door handles. It was like an ocean out here. And this is something that we deal with all the time. Every time that it rains, the street just doesn't handle the water flow.
Well, flooded roadways also a problem near Heston. This is one road we came across northeast of Heston along the Middle Emma Creek. There are several roads that look like this today due to large amounts of rain. A flooded home or basement can be difficult to dry out. Rachel Skida spoke to a restoration crew today to find out what you should do right away if you're dealing with flooding.
Stover's Restoration tells me they started getting calls for flooding at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and the calls have not stopped since then. One of those calls came from Belle Plaine Elementary School here, where the water got so high it forced them to cancel classes for the day. Here's a look inside the school. You can see water still covered the carpet Wednesday afternoon. Preston Stover with Stover's Restoration says they have crews from Belle Plaine to Hutchinson and Emporia dealing with flooding like this. If your home is flooded, he says, call a plumber first. Restoration companies will likely be backed up and can't respond immediately. He says a plumber will be able to identify where the water is coming from and can help put a stop to it. Next, Stover says remove furniture and electronics from the flooded area and pull up the carpet if you can. He says do as much as you can on your own before a restoration team arrives. That will make things much quicker and will also help prevent future problems like mold.
What I worry about more is people think that that water just stays in their basement and it doesn't affect the rest of their home. The longer the water sits there, the higher humidity in the home gets. And now you have your first story of your home affected.
Stover tells me the job here at Belle Plaine Elementary School will take about 5 days to fully dry out. He says it's about the same for a residential property as well. That's why he encourages homeowners to act fast if you have water in your home. In Belle Plaine, Rachel Skida, Eyewitness News.
Many of you have helped us tell this flooding story by sending in your storm shots. Thank you for that. We received hundreds of them. These are just a few. We want to show you this one here. Cheryl sent us these. These are from a golf course in Wellington there. People in Saline County also saw their fair share of rain. Nikki shared this photo of Mulberry Creek just west of Salina, where you can see water running up the trees. And this is what all the rain brought to the top of the surface. If you look closely, you'll see a lot of worms. And she shared this photo. This is out of McPherson.
We are learning new details today about yesterday's deadly school shooting in Colorado, how a quick response helped police take the suspected shooters in. That's coming up. Plus, you can see flames coming from this Kansas home with no smoke detectors inside, how the family was able to make it out safely. That's later.
And our next wave of heavy rain starting to impact the metro area. You can see it's impacting western parts of Sedgwick County. Lightning, thunder, some heavy rainfall, but no strong winds and no significant hail. I'll be back to let you know how long this is going to be around and could we see more rain tomorrow? An answer straight ahead.
Expect more from KWCH 12. This is Eyewitness News at 5. Online at KWCH.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. This is KWCH 12 Eyewitness News at 5.
Wichita police arrest this woman, Maya Collins. She was arrested on 2 counts of first-degree murder. It stems from this accident over the weekend where Marie Wood and her granddaughter, Rosie McElroy, were killed. Also in the car with them was Wichita musician Jenny Wood, who continues to recover at a Wichita hospital. Another man was also in the car with Collins. He also remains in the hospital at this time. Wichita police arrest a 17-year-old woman on charges of driving under the influence of drugs. Officers say she was driving and ran a stop sign, crashing into a bus that was carrying people with special needs and disabilities. It happened in West Wichita yesterday afternoon. 8 people in the van were hurt. All were treated and released.
OSHA cites Spirit Aerosystems more than $190,000. The agency says Spirit exposed employees to potentially cancer-causing hazards. OSHA says the company failed to implement changes then to limit exposure to that hazard. Spirit has 15 business days to comply, request a conference with OSHA, or contest those findings.
Look outside over soggy Salina. We're all kind of wet right now, and more is on the way. Storm Team 12 forecast is next.
Now, your accurate Storm Team 12 forecast.
Well, it's the last thing that any of us need, and that's more rain, and we continue to track that here for you as some heavy showers and thunderstorms beginning to work their way back across south central Kansas. And that's where we're going to start because we've got a pocket of heavy rainfall just south of Harper and Anthony. Some wet weather about to move back into Caldwell. There will be some rumbles of thunder. Some of you are already hearing that, but we're not in a severe weather setup tonight, so we do have some encouraging news there. But you can see from Anthony down into northern Oklahoma, more waves of heavy rain continuing to move either east or northeast northeast at speeds of about 30 to 35. So thank goodness tonight's round of rain will not be stalling like some of us had to deal with last night when the rain just would not move out of the area, but the rain starting to pick up around Caldwell. We've got some heavy showers and thunderstorms moving back across western Sedgwick County right now. Some of the yellows and oranges showing us where rainfall is coming down at rates of about 2 to 3 inches per hour. In fact, bringing up to the current time here in the northwest part of Sedgwick County, we're looking at rainfall rates of about 1 inch per hour. Those are heavy downpours. You can still navigate through that, but that kind of rainfall on top of this saturated soil is a problem. We've got more rain showing up around Newton. It gets a little heavier back to the west of Newton, continuing to push east at about 30 miles per hour. Lightning showing up too across McPherson County. The leading edge of the heavy rain now approaching Hillsboro, and over the last hour we continue to see almost all of that moving northeast at about 30. As we continue to show you central Kansas, we've got showers moving through Ellsworth County. The showers beginning to ease up a little bit in Barton County, just some light rain around Great Bend. North of I-70, it's not very heavy, but some scattered showers in both Russell and in Lincoln counties. That won't amount to very much, and scattered showers are showing up in Stafford County, down into northern Pratt County. And finally, as we take a look at western Kansas, a couple of showers are showing up around Scott City, but rainfall amounts in this part of Kansas probably not going to amount to very much. It's been a very stormy week. Look at the radar estimates from the last 48 hours. 75 to 80% of Kansas has had at least 2 inches of rain or more. And then you find a heavy swath south and east of Wichita, another one from Clark and Meade counties right up to Hutchinson, and then another big batch of rain which fell a couple nights ago out in Pawnee County. So a good chunk of Kansas could benefit from some sunshine, but it definitely looks like we're going to stay cloudy with another rain chance coming tomorrow. Officially for Wichita, just over 1.5 inches. Most of that last night. Dodge City had about 1 1/3 inches. Concordia with about 1 inch of rain. Now this is what we expect through the rest of the night. A cold front moving through the area will shove most of this rainfall out of here. This is a look at 9 o'clock tonight. Most of the heavier rain should be over with, and by midnight we should be done with the rain. We're going to stay cloudy through the rest of the night. One thing you want to be ready for when you wake up tomorrow morning, gusty winds out of the north. It's going to feel like 30s over most of Kansas. Very chilly to begin the day. Now 7 o'clock in the morning, some scattered light rain showers trying to move back into southwest Kansas. Any rain we get tomorrow, probably not much more than just a trace for most areas, so we're not talking about big rainfall tomorrow, but you will likely encounter some raindrops, especially in the morning across western Kansas. The afternoon could have a few sprinkles. Not expecting any big amounts of rain for tomorrow. Then on Friday, we start with a very chilly day. Looks like temperatures in the 30s at the beginning of your Friday. The afternoon still kind of cloudy, and look at this, far western Kansas maybe catching a couple of rain showers late Friday afternoon. Once again, what you want to be ready for tomorrow morning, look at this. It may be the month of May, but wind chills feels like temperatures at 7 o'clock in the morning down in the 20s and 30s. We're going to have a brisk north wind tomorrow. It is going to be a very cool start to your Thursday morning. Wet weather showing up from the Skycam in Hutchinson right now. A little bit of a breeze too. It's 63 degrees in Wichita. The wind out of the south at 7, but look how cool it is in western Kansas. 44 in Goodland, 52 in Garden City. That cool air is what the rest of us in central and eastern Kansas will likely feel tomorrow. Overnight low temperatures, 36 in Goodland, 38 for Hayes, 41 for Salina, 42 in Hutchinson with 45 in Wichita. The good news, by the time we get to midnight tonight, almost all of the measurable rain should be out of here. Now tomorrow, I wish we had sunshine in the forecast, but it's going to be gray skies, a couple of sprinkles and brief rain showers. Nothing heavy tomorrow though. 51 in Grape Bend, 49 in Dodge City. Temperatures just above 50 in south central Kansas. And on your 10-day forecast, you might be thinking, oh no, we're going to get more rain this weekend. Well, Saturday, it's a very slim chance. I mean, we're talking about just a stray sprinkle or a brief shower. Won't be anything big, and our future track shows probably mid-afternoon on Saturday. Mother's Day looks pretty good. Light winds, 70-degree temperatures. Look at the sunshine next week. One rain chance we're trying to pin down for you will come in the middle of the week, but a lot of 70s and maybe even some 80-degree weather on the way at the end of the week.
Thanks, Ross. Investigators in Colorado interview witnesses today trying to figure out why 2 students opened fire on their fellow classmates. Police say the 2 students used at least 2 handguns. 18-year-old Kendrick Castillo died. 8 others were hurt. Within 2 minutes, police were on the scene.
We did not exchange any gunfire with them. I believe one of them was restrained when the deputies came in contact with them.
Police say a school security guard subdued 18-year-old Devin Erickson. The second suspect, a juvenile female, surrendered to police. The suburban Denver STEM school will remain closed for at least the remainder of the week. Castillo was scheduled to graduate in just a few days.
Scary scene right here. You're looking at a Hutchinson home in flames during an overnight fire. This is in the southern part of the city, and this is what firefighters saw as they arrived to fight that fire at that home. The fire was coming out of the attic space, and crews were able to contain it to there, but there is extensive damage throughout the home. Prior to firefighters arriving, a person on a bicycle saw smoke coming from the home and started knocking on the door. He even went to a side door and was finally able to alert a woman and 2 small children inside.
The place did not have smoke detectors in the home, and so they were able to narrowly escape with the help of this bystander that basically probably ended up saving their lives.
Thank goodness. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. The Hutchinson Fire Department is going around to neighboring homes to talk about the importance of smoke detectors.
New at 5 today, a car slams into an empty building on East Central. This is right next to the Hog Wild near Central and Hillside. The car ended up going through the wall and into the dining room there. Luckily, not a lot of people at the restaurant at the time. Police say the driver mistook the gas for the brake and drove into the building. She was not hurt.
Heavy rains continue to impact south central Kansas across Sumner County, and we've got heavy rain falling in the city of Wichita and a lot of wet weather across central Kansas. We'll continue with our flood coverage coming up at 6 o'clock.